pretty big hit to local governments and county governments. Today, probably one of the bills that we're dealing with, it's probably the most significant in dealing with an immediate savings to the municipal taxpayer. You hear a lot about toolkits and reforms. A lot of these bills don't have an immediate hit and impact and savings to municipalities. This one, the number goes anywhere from 8 to 10 million all the way up to $20–25 million. That would be an immediate savings to municipalities. So I expect and hope to have a vote on this later tonight.
Held by testimony that would hurt the newspaper industry?
Yes, but I'm just as compelled to hearing that we're laying off police and firemen and teachers. I'm just as compelled to hear that as well. You know, these are difficult times, you know, we're concerned about the transparency issue. We shouldn't be ultimately concerned about a $10 million. This is a $10 to $20 million industry for the newspapers. Put more and more police and fire on the streets, our response times are going to go down, and you have to worry about crime rising. So we just can't make this about an all-out attack on police and fire. And temporary layoffs, furloughs, which are temporary layoffs, could actually result in that. Various shifts, reducing the amount of men on the. It's a gamble in certain ways, saying on this particular shift I don't have as much crime, so I'm going to, or potential problems, I'm going to reduce the amount of police and fire on that shift. So these are things that we're really going to need to consider on that particular bill.
Growing up, I actually always thought my parents were married when I was younger. I didn't know because, like all my friends, I had two loving parents, and their parents were all married, so I kind of assumed mine were. But as I got older, kids started to ask questions, you know, two women can't be married, and your parents can't be married. And so I went home and I asked my parents, and they told me, no, actually, honey, we're not married, we can't be married. And that was the most hurt and confusion and shock I had ever felt in my short life. And here at 19, I'm still hurt and confused and shocked that my parents can't be married.
We are absolutely here to counter our opponents protesting on the steps of the State House. Make no bones about it. The timing is not coincidental. However, our message is one of love, families, and inclusion in the institution of marriage, while our opponent's message is one of hate, exclusion, and prejudice.
With that, the government is already treating relationships very differently in a lot of ways. And in particular, for most income classes, for most people who are married with children, or who are of the age of having children, if they get married, most of them face a marriage tax penalty, not a benefit. The government is already favoring some kinds of relationships, namely, they're favoring single parenthood. The government is already steering people towards out-of-wedlock childbearing and away from married childbearing. Government's been doing that for 45 years. Quite deliberately. All of our income support programs have these features, right, where it's based on the individual income, not the couple's income. And so if you get married, you get less of the public benefit. That was built into Obama's health care plan. I don't know how many of you knew that in Obama's health care plan, most people who are of childbearing age, if they get married, they get less health care. So the government is not neutral right now. And it's operating to push people into or away from marriage through health care, through schooling, through housing, through income support programs. They're already not neutral in this area. In the meantime,
should be bullied. No one should be intimidated. No one should be harassed.
We don't want
what I know is that we saw some of our kids that are here today that were at the rally in Providence. We saw same-sex marriage supporters calling them little bigots and attacking them. Now, am I saying that's true of the whole movement? No. Stephen Goldstein, I know, and so far there have been no incidents here, and I know he's called on his supporters not to not have any confrontations. I respect that. And we can disagree civilly. This is America. This is an emotional question. There are people on both sides of the debate. Let's debate it. Let's argue about it. But let's not try and shout each other down.
because we had that monopoly, we took the easy money. We were the only game in town on the East Coast. So we didn't have to worry about evolving, changing, becoming more attractive, turning ourselves into that destination resort that Atlantic City should be. Nobody wants to be in Las Vegas in the middle of the summer. You've been there? Nobody wants to be there. And you don't want to be in the middle of the desert in the summer. But would you want to be on some of the most beautiful beaches on the East Coast? Yeah, if they also provided to you a clean and safe environment for you and for your family, if they provided other entertainment beside gaming for families so that they could bring their children to Atlantic City and know that there were other things for them to do other than just be in a casino? Yeah, listen, we got lazy. We had a monopoly and we got lazy and we didn't evolve or change. Everybody else around us did, and now we're suffering. That's the capitalist system. Now, we need to turn and evolve and make this city responsive now to these potential opportunities. And that's the way I see them. I see them as opportunities. Are they challenges too? Of course they are. I think that anybody who thinks that gambling in and of itself is a panacea that's gonna save anything, that's a short-term vision of what's gonna work. What's next then? When people get sick of slots, then are we supposed to have gaming tables at horse tracks as well? When they need the next infusion of capital? And the bottom line is, this industry has to be able to sustain itself. And so we're going to have to figure out a way to do that. And they're going to have to figure out a way to do that with us. I want the industry to continue in New Jersey, but I also do not have the money to be subsidizing failure. I don't have the money to do that anymore. Previous administrations have had the money to do it, and that's why we're in the condition that we're in. So I'm not in the game of subsidizing failure anymore. We have to subsidize success. Michael? I mean, you know, what's going to determine it is going to be the future willingness of private industry to invest in a city that they do not believe themselves, nor is perceived nationally as a clean and safe city in order to bring families. And so we need to change that. I think that perception's already there. That's why the Hansen Commission's proposal is one that I endorse. We have to do that, and it's something that I'm going to be endorsing and proposing to the legislature through the necessary legislation that needs to be proposed to make these changes. The intent of the legislation is pretty clear, that it is not working now, and we need to make it work. And we cannot sit by and allow the same people, as I said before, who have stewarded over the failure of Atlantic City to continue to steward over its death. I can't sit by and let that happen. So if the alternative is to be accused of being over-aggressive versus, you know, being an absentee landlord, I'd rather be over-aggressive.
We're releasing Environment New Jersey's biannual legislative scorecard for all members of the New Jersey legislature. And it's one thing to say you support the environment, and it's another to consistently vote to protect it. And this scorecard is our measuring stick to the public on whether the green promises of the legislators is matched by their voting record on the environment. And I'm thankful to be able to say Assemblywoman Lena Greenstein, who represents the 14th District, Assemblywoman Peter Barnes, who represents the 18th District, Senator Bob Smith, who cannot join us today, who represents the 18th, and Senator Shirley Turner, who represents the 15th, all received 100% marks on this scorecard. Assemblywoman Greenstein was the only legislator to earn a repeat 100% score. But, you know, standing up for the environment is never easy in Trenton, and these four legislators should be commended for their perfect 100% scores.
We really can't do things halfway when it comes to the environment, because sometimes if something is destroyed, we can't get it back. Not everything is renewable. In fact, many things in our environment are not renewable, and if we destroy them, if we use them up, you can't just put them back.